Hello everyone. I'm delighted to be here today to introduce you to PILLPAL. PILLPAL is a device that we designed over the weekend which addresses a very large problem. The World Health Organization has decreed that the proper use of medication and the appropriate monitoring of taking medicine would be more useful than developing new medicine. So this is a huge problem around the world. To look at the figures and put some figures on it, the UK spends $2.5 billion per year on coronary heart disease medications, of which they reckon over 50% are wasted due to non-compliance with the medical regime. In China, only 43% of hypertension or high blood pressure patients are compliant with their medications. We can also look and see that 10% of all hospital admissions in the world can be, that's a conservative estimate, can be attributed to non-compliance with medication regimes. So it's a huge problem with a huge issue to solve. So how do we solve it? Well, what we did is, we took, this is a standard, you may recognize this as a standard sort of tray that's issued to dependent people who find it difficult to take all the pills, particularly polypharma patients. We're going to take that direct from the pharmacy where it's sealed and has been sealed by a pharmacist. We're going to insert it into the back of the PILLPAL. What happens then is, as say my father-in-law Paddy has dementia, a real guy, and there's a constant trouble with the family as he goes in every day, he has to take his pills, the family have to try and monitor, and if they let it go a day, they come in and all yesterday's pills aren't taken. So this way, Paddy goes in to have a cup of tea, on the counter is a machine with a red button. Paddy says, I'll have my tea, and the red button is lit saying, your pills are available. Paddy hits the button, takes his pills, everything is great. So then if he comes to the first tolerance of time, so if he's a half an hour late, he gets an audio signal, the light flashes, he gets an audio signal saying, Paddy, take your tablets. If he then passes a further time tolerance, then via a text message or a push message, one of his family or caregivers will be issued a message to say, Paddy's looking like he's going to miss his pills. You can then intervene by a phone call, by a call to the house or whatever, so you don't arrive tomorrow and see all today's pills, because you can take a timely intervention to make sure that the pills are on time. So who benefits? Well, clearly Paddy's going to benefit, because Paddy's quality of life when he's taking his Alzheimer's pills is much better than any time that he might miss his pills. So he's the main beneficiary, his quality of life and his ability to contribute to family life. But also the caregiver, so either Paddy's family, in this case maybe my wife, you can log on to an internet portal and see how the week's pills are going, but also you know that whoever's the local caregiver or whatever can be there to assist also. The HSE also can more target the resources by the data that we generate.
So on the right side you see such a data portal which we provide to health agencies and giving them data to analyze. For example, you can see the patient's compliance with medicine, and the beauty of this is, for example, there's a correlation between patients who suffer from diabetes. They have a higher risk actually to suffer also dementia, Alzheimer's. And an early sign is just a decline in cognitive functions. So you can actually see if Paddy is missing, pressing the button or just forgetting, that might be an early sign that there is of dementia. And we could proactively act. The doctor could act, the community nurse could act, and change the treatment and reduce the costs. And we also thought about PILLPAL 2.0, which is a help hub, basically giving more data into the system, like blood pressure and heart rate. And maybe now we can talk about finances in the Q&A. Thank you.
So who's the competition in the space today?
There are a couple of different elements of competition, nothing directly. The closest is a Philips product. The advantage that we have over the Philips product is that we take this tray, which has been filled by a healthcare professional, in this case a pharmacist, and we take the tray and directly insert it into our machine. The Philips machine comes with a tray of small pill pots or like espresso pots, which have to be removed from the tray and stacked up into this machine. And it adds another layer of human factors, another layer of potential error, medical error. Whereas ours, we take it out, we insert this into the machine, the Philips device means taking out small pots and stacking up into the machine once a week.
You mentioned the Alzheimer's patient, which is presumably the most difficult. I presume it's useful for most patients.
Yeah, well, it would be of considerable use to a lot of patients. So I suppose some patients are fine working from a paper bag. Some patients then will graduate, say, to this. And then at some stage, the patient, if they're using this, they will certainly find this PILLPAL useful. But they can graduate from this, which is something that they can use themselves, up to the PILLPAL and so on. So it sort of fits into that ecosystem of going from complete independence to complete dependence.
So your business case is based on which?
Yeah.
So we're basically on two revenue streams. One is selling the device to the patient, and then the data, giving it, providing to the health agencies. And obviously, a great product doesn't make a great sale. So what we know is that you first have to tackle the patients. And if that device gets accepted, then you can go over and go to the health agency and they can roll out the system. And we retail the device at 149 euros and the data packages at 99 euros per patient per year.
And I think it's important to say as well, we think, say, the likes of the community nurses. So if they have only a limited amount of time, rather than calling into Paddy this week when he doesn't need them, some weeks Paddy might need 3 calls, some weeks he won't need any call at all. So if they see that Paddy's struggling with the meds this week, they can look and adjust their diary, have a sort of a fluid diary where they won't say, I'll call the Paddy on Monday at 9. They might give Paddy a ring and say, how's things, Paddy, doing okay? If they see that Mary down the road has missed her pills, 3 days running or 3 times today, or has been at the end of the tolerances, and they might do a house call and see is everything okay. They might need more interventions. So the HSE can properly target the resources rather than more a rifle than a shotgun sort of.